Okay, we are entering the final chapter of the first global revolution, learning our way into a new era. We shall make no attempt to summarize our conclusions. Indeed, the very nature of the problematique precludes such a possibility. Indeed, we shall make some observations and suggestions as how to blaze a trail into the thicket of the future through learning, which is a leading feature of the Resolutique. Before doing so, however, we shall restate a few guiding principles that are scattered throughout the book. The need for the involvement and participation of everyone in seeking a way through the intertwining complex of contemporary problems. Recognition that the possibilities of positive change reside in the motivations and values that determine our behavior. Understanding that the behavior of nations and societies reflects that of its individual citizens. Acceptance of the postulate that dramatic solutions are unlikely to come from the leaders of governments, but that thousands of small wise decisions reflecting the new realization of millions of ordinary people are necessary for securing the survival of society. Effect given to the principle that privilege, whether individual or national, must always be complemented by a corresponding responsibility. As stated in the introduction, the ideas and action proposals of this book are offered as a basis for learning our way into the future. It is not necessary, indeed, it would be impossible to expect for there to be complete agreement on all the thoughts we have expressed with regard to the world in revolution, or on the relative importance we have given to the various problems. The material presented here should rather be regarded as matters for widespread discussion and debate. It is intended to spark off a variety of examinations and reassessments on the part of those responsible for the management of society at all levels. Beyond this, it is hoped that the many whose contacts with governance are quite remote, but whose future is deeply involved in the changes to be foreseen, will begin to more clearly understand the significance of many of the topics presented, such as the interdependence of the nations and the interaction of the problems. The time has come to show how every individual is more or less directly concerned with the problems of the world and the changes that are brewing, even if he or she can more easily perceive the problems than their causes. Even now, few remain untouched. One has only to mention the problems for some of coexistence with immigrants of different ethnic origins, the effect on children and adolescents of certain television programs, the internationalization of automobiles, or the international spread of the products for sale in supermarkets. To learn our way through this period of transition and to identify sure points of reference, we have to modify our reasoning, our mental images, our behavior, and the realities on which we base our judgments, so that we can understand this world mutation with its array of global issues such as the environment, food security, development of the poor countries, the crises of governance, and all the others we have attempted to describe. The situation of complexity and uncertainty will condemn decision makers at all levels, and especially the politicians, to search for new approaches and to adopt untraditional attitudes, for it will not be possible to implement their decisions, no matter how brave and how pertinent, unless they succeed in obtaining wide public support. However, general resistance to change and fear of the unknown constitute an unfavorable environment to strong but unfamiliar action. The dynamics of public opinion will not be able to operate usefully unless the individuals who make it up have access to the nature of global phenomena and acquire through their understanding of them the conviction of what is at stake, the very survival of the human species. It is obvious, however, that the eloquence of the facts alone will be insufficient to convince individuals that these phenomena are of immediate concern to them. To most people they will seem distant, theoretical, and too vast in comparison with the problems of everyday life, their family, professional, financial, health, and day-to-day survival problems. The scope of these difficulties may well elicit a reaction of withdrawal a refusal to understand, or anxiety at the thought of the individual in his helplessness, and isolation, having to grapple with a set of facts that are mind-boggling in their variety and complexity. Such doubts and alienation will have to be acknowledged and deliberately addressed so that they can be dispelled by shared fears and a familiarity with the facts gradually achieved through discussion with others. The situation must be seen in local and personal terms. This is one reason for the need for a revitalization of democracy on a more participative basis, stimulated by comprehension of the global concerns. The need, then, is to think globally and act locally. The Club of Rome has, from its beginning, realized the need for such an approach, and there are a multitude of ways in which it is or could be achieved. We offer a few examples in the following. Global-local interaction. On the initiative of Maurice Strong and the Club of Rome, a meeting was held in 1989 in Denver with some 40 Colorado decision makers to discuss the following question. In what ways do the great world problems affect the economic and social life of the state of Colorado, and in what way can the political and economic leaders of the state exercise an influence or have an impact on these great problems? During the work and discussions of the meeting, interaction became more and more evident in a number of areas, especially on environmental issues. If every inhabitant in Colorado makes energy saving as well as fighting against waste his or her daily duty, the action will have repercussions on the situation of Colorado, therefore of the United States, therefore of the world. If the individual is alone, the result will be merely symbolic. If a number of individuals join to act in the direction of better environmental protection, and if their influence in the community strengthens their fight, then the result will be significant. The Denver meeting was followed by an open forum in which the ideas and conclusions of the small restricted meeting were shared with a large audience of the general public. Similar meetings are being planned in other countries, initially in Japan, and similar approaches are being taken by other bodies and sometimes even by governments. In a different area, that of development, we underscored the role of local initiatives in the development process, often taken by non-governmental organizations, groups of villagers and the like, with action on farming, health and hygiene, education, etc. Corresponding activities are also spreading in the big city slums, and both of these are contributing to modifying the concept and the global vision of development policies for which they have provided the reality of experience in the field that is the reflection of the multiplicity of geographic, cultural, and human situations. The Club of Rome, in disseminating its concerns and encouraging the emergence of global thinking in local action, has encouraged the creation of national associations for the Club of Rome. And I'll stop it right here, and we will pick up in the next video. It will be part 2 of the final chapter to the First Global Revolution, learning our way into a new area.